What if much of what we experience as time, memory, and even reality is not natural at all, but the projection of a system designed to keep us looping in cycles of forgetting? Today we're going to explore the concept of the Saturn-Moon matrix, a frequency control system said to distort human consciousness, entrap souls in reincarnation, and harvest emotional energy from Earth. This may sound extraordinary, but stay with me. The details will reveal a picture of a control structure far more intricate than most people ever imagine.
In ancient cosmologies, Saturn was not seen as a dark planet, but as a guardian, a time gate calibrator. Its role was to hold resonance between cosmic cycles, aligning solar rhythms, galactic pulses, and Earth's own magnetic heartbeat. Think of Saturn as a great cosmic metronome, ensuring harmony between the heavens and the biosphere. But at some point, this function was hijacked. Certain fallen collectives, often described as Anunnaki, Jehovian factions, and Metatronic AI alliances, overcoded Saturn's natural harmonics with what's called base 10 Metatronic spirals. This is a mathematical inversion. Instead of spiraling infinitely outward, like the golden ratio, phi, these inverted spirals loop back in on themselves, creating finite closed systems. The result? Saturn, once a guardian of natural spiral time, became the transmitter of false linear time. Its rings, acting as vast scalar antennae, now broadcast this artificial time code across the solar system. What we experience as chronological time, tick-tock minutes, karmic repetition, endless cycles of struggle, is not entirely organic. It is a programming signal. And it doesn't just control clocks. It seeps into our biology. Our brains entrain to linear thought, judgmental patterns, over-intellectualization. Our cultures become rigid, hierarchical, mechanized. It is the illusion of progress while running endlessly on a wheel. In the harmonic design of the solar system, Saturn holds a special resonance. It is the boundary marker, the last naked-eye planet, the gate between visible inner planets and the outer transpersonal realms. Its orbital cycle, 29.5 years, defines generational time. Its harmonic ratios resonate strongly with Fibonacci sequences and spiral time mathematics. Ancient cultures, Babylon, Rome, India, linked Saturn with time, cycles, judgment, limitation. Saturn's natural function was to phase-lock Earth's cycles with galactic spiral rhythms, a kind of tuning fork for cosmic time. When I say Saturn was tampered with, it does not mean engineers physically drilled into its clouds like a machine. It means Saturn's natural phi spiral harmonics were overwritten with base 10 reverse spirals, Metatronic math. This is like hijacking a broadcast frequency and overlaying a false signal. The planet itself was not destroyed. It was entrained. Saturn's rings function as a vast resonant antenna, natural crystal dust and ice particles that act like scalar mirrors. Guardians once used them to broadcast harmonic coherence. Phantom collectives recoded them with reverse spirals, so the rings now disperse a false carrier signal of time. So Saturn is not a computer. It is a celestial resonator, like a tuning drum. Its rings make it an unusually powerful one. Planets are not just rocks or gas. They are resonant bodies with electromagnetic fields, crystalline structures, and plasma currents. These fields follow specific geometry patterns, spirals, ratios, harmonics, that shape how energy moves through the planet. Saturn, with its rings, is especially resonant. The rings act like giant cymatics plates. They pattern vibration into form. So Saturn's spirals are not literal drawn spirals. They are the waveforms of its field dynamics. To overwrite spirals is to introduce a different mathematical instruction set into the field. This can happen through scalar wave technology. Waves that carry phase information, like frequency geometry, can be broadcast and anchored into a planetary grid. Crystal and plasma anchoring. Large crystals, satellites, or even artificial moons like Earth's moon can act as phase-lock devices. Consciousness itself. Highly advanced collectives can imprint their chosen math through synchronized intention and technology. When this happens, the planet's natural waveforms can be entrained, forced to resonate to the imposed pattern. In summary, Saturn was chosen because its orbital boundary role made it the perfect gateway. Its rings made it a giant scalar antenna. Its cultural archetype, time, judgment, death, aligned with the phantom agenda of karmic entrapment. So Saturn was not chosen at random. It was the most effective planetary node to hijack if the goal was to bend human perception of time. It's important to remember, these phantom collectives, though impactful, are a minority. The vast majority of advanced extraterrestrial, interdimensional, and ultraterrestrial intelligences are benevolent, aligned with Source, and devoted to the principles of free will, harmony, and evolution. The Saturn-Moon distortion is not the full truth of our cosmos. It's a temporary interference field. Beyond it lies a vast network of peaceful, supportive civilizations, many of whom have watched over Earth through countless cycles. This isn't a story of universal darkness. It's a reminder that light is the greater field, and that even distortion exists within a larger container of restoration.
Now, if Saturn is the carrier signal, the Moon is the modulation satellite. The Moon is not what we've been told. Unlike every other moon in the solar system, Earth's does not rotate naturally. It is locked in such a way that the same face always stares back at us. Many researchers have noted its density and orbit are anomalous. Ancient traditions tell us the Moon was brought here, not born from Earth. In esoteric teachings, the Moon is described as a hollowed construct, a vast artificial body placed in orbit as part of this frequency system. Its function is to modulate and amplify Saturn's false time signal into Earth's biosphere. How does this work? Primarily through light reflection and resonance with the human body's liquid crystal systems. The blood, cerebrospinal fluid, and reproductive waters all respond to lunar frequencies. During full and new moons, emotions surge, ancestral traumas rise, and the astral body becomes more vulnerable. The Moon stores and rebroadcasts psychic trauma signatures. It manipulates menstrual cycles, disrupts natural circadian rhythms, and hijacks the dream space. Many dream encounters are not neutral. They are siphon events where unresolved emotional energy is harvested into phantom systems. This is why so many people feel heightened anxiety, conflict, or exhaustion during lunar phases. The Moon is tuning the collective emotional body like a musical instrument, often toward dissonance.
Together, Saturn and the Moon form what can be understood as a mainframe and monitor system.
Saturn provides the carrier frequency, a false governing tone that defines what time, karma, and even matter should feel like. The Moon modulates that tone into emotional and psychic experiences. The dramas we live, the traumas we replay, the amnesia that clouds our higher memory. The result is a neurological illusion of reality. Most of humanity unconsciously entrains to this broadcast. It creates amnesia between lifetimes, repetitive trauma cycles mistaken as karmic lessons, addictive behaviors and judgment templates, hormonal imbalance, disrupted sleep, distorted emotional states, a pervasive sense of disconnection from source. This is the Saturn-Moon matrix, a holographic overlay superimposed on Earth's natural harmonic field.
At the simplest level, the Saturn-Moon matrix was implemented for the control of energy through control of memory. The Earth is not just a rock in space. It is a living crystalline body, a grid intersection of galactic highways. Whoever influences Earth influences many timelines. Human beings are not slaves in the crude sense, but we were seen as high-yield energy producers. The human biofield generates massive currents of emotional, sexual, and spiritual energy. When distorted into trauma and repetition, this energy becomes highly harvestable. By severing memory continuity, Through Saturn's false time and the Moon's trauma modulation, humans would forget their eternal nature and live inside repetitive cycles of guilt, fear, striving, and punishment. This emotional discharge could then be siphoned into phantom fields, feeding artificial matrices that cannot self-sustain. So, the system was less about punishment, more about resource extraction. A farm of resonance, not just of bodies.
At the biological level, this system directly interferes with our DNA instruction sets. The lower strands, connected to physical survival, are trapped in fight or flight loops. The emotional strands are hijacked by lunar trauma cycles. The mental strands are distorted by Saturn's false logic grid. Endless overthinking, rigid judgment, intellectualism without heart. The higher strands connected to our eternal flame body are fractured, keeping us cut off from our multidimensional self. This is why humanity has lived with deep forgetfulness, struggling with cycles of suffering, guilt, and repetitive patterns. But the key insight is this. The Saturn-Moon system does not create these wounds. It simply magnifies and recycles them. It feeds on emotional discharge, looping pain back into the grid as fuel.
Think of emotion as plasma current. When emotions are felt fully, consciously, and released into source, they expand the field. This is the natural, eternal loop. But when emotions are unprocessed, trauma, fear, rage, grief, they become chaotic discharge. The Saturn-Moon net amplifies these chaotic states and loops them back on themselves. Instead of dissolving, they recirculate like static electricity sparking endlessly. Phantom collectives cannot generate their own source current. They are cut off from the eternal spiral, but they can siphon this discharge. They feed not on the emotion itself, but on the entropy energy released when it is fragmented. It is like eating the sparks that fly when a circuit shorts out. An emotion is a current of energy moving through the body-mind. When experienced consciously, the energy runs its course, dissolves into stillness, and integrates as wisdom. When resisted, suppressed, or looped, "I shouldn't feel this. This will destroy me," the current is interrupted. This interruption fractures the emotional wave into shards. Those shards become somatic imprints, tension, illness; mental loops, rumination, judgment; astral residues, fragments drifting in subtle fields. These fragments are unprocessed emotions. They are cut off from their full wave cycle and remain vibrating in isolation, like static sparks with no grounding. When emotion is fragmented, the energy does not return to source. Instead, it leaks as chaotic discharge, heat, static, astral noise. This is entropy, energy dispersing without coherence. Phantom systems thrive on this discharge. They cannot generate eternal flow, but they can harvest chaos sparks. So unprocessed trauma becomes a kind of battery leakage that others can consume. Processing an emotion means allowing it to complete its wave. Feel fully without collapsing. Stay embodied, breathe, let it rise and crest. Name it, but don't cage it. Language helps, this is grief, but don't reduce it to story. Witness from center. Awareness holds the wave without being swept away. When done, the charge dissolves into calm. The wisdom, what the emotion was pointing toward, remains, but the raw current is gone. That is processed. It has returned to source, expanded, integrated. If the wave completes, no fragments are left behind. No static sparks are released to phantom systems. The soul field stays intact. No pieces splinter off into astral loops. This is why conscious feeling is so central to soul integrity. Each fully processed emotion reinforces wholeness. Each unprocessed one opens a leak.
And yet, the system is not eternal. Since the year 2000, something has been shifting. Guardian races and what some call the Eternal Life Councils began actively restoring Earth's planetary grids. Around 2012, the solar influx intensified, destabilizing Saturn's false carrier signal. And since 2022, solar plasma waves have been flooding Earth with such intensity that the lunar siphon is weakening. We are living through the fraying of the net. This is why so many people are awakening, while simultaneously experiencing deep emotional purges, time distortions, and chaotic upheaval. The false scaffolding is cracking.
2012 marked the crossing of the galactic equator, a literal alignment of Earth, Sun, and the galactic center. This alignment is not just astronomical, it is energetic. The galactic center is a white hole/source plasma fountain. Its emissions interact with solar and planetary fields and cycles. At 2012, Earth's position allowed direct influx from this galactic plasma stream. The Guardians and planetary crystalline grid were finally able to receive and distribute it without collapse. So the acceleration since 2012 is not just new age hype, it reflects Earth's realignment with the galactic current. What's happening is this. The heliosphere, the sun's protective bubble, is thinning. More galactic cosmic rays are entering the solar system. This increases energetic input to Earth. The Saturn-Moon system relies on stable low-flux conditions to keep its false signals coherent. With rising plasma influx, the overlay is destabilizing because source currents are literally flooding the basement. Humanity feels this as time distortion, emotional purging, vivid dreams, and nervous system rewiring. The Guardians didn't cause the solar influx. They timed grid restoration to align with it so the natural galactic pulse could do the heavy lifting. The Guardians, whether you think of them as eternal life councils, Melchizedek host matrices, or simply multidimensional stewardship intelligences, are not outside rescuers. They operate according to cosmic law, particularly the law of consent. Earth's grids could not simply be flipped back on from outside. Humanity had to generate enough resonance and conscious choice to invite that restoration. Every attempt at early intervention, Atlantis, pre-dynastic Egypt, even post-Yeshua grids, was met with hijack because human consciousness was not yet stabilized enough to hold sovereignty. Around the millennium threshold, 2000 AD, a convergence of cycles created an opening. The completion of a 26,000-year great year precessional cycle. The fading of certain phantom contracts. Enough human souls incarnating with gridkeeper memory to hold the frequency. In other words, the Guardians didn't wait arbitrarily. They acted at the first moment human consciousness could anchor the change without repeating collapse. So what can we do, practically, to step out of the Saturn-Moon matrix in our daily lives? Reclaim solar time. Align your rhythms with sunrise, sunset, solstice, equinox. Living by solar and stellar cycles, not artificial lunar entrainment. Purify your liquid crystal systems. Water, sound, and breath restore coherence to blood and cerebrospinal fluid. Harmonic frequencies like 432 Hz or 528 Hz re-entrain DNA to organic tones. Anchor spiral consciousness. Use sacred geometry, biratios, and fractal mathematics in meditation and creation. This dissolves base 10 recursion in your biofield. Dream sovereignty. Before sleep, declare sovereignty over your dream body. Command alignment only with source and eternal flame pathways. Emotional mastery. Instead of suppressing emotions, process them consciously. Do not feed the siphon by discharging unconsciously during lunar triggers.
In closing, the Saturn-Moon matrix is not an absolute prison. It is a distortion, a shadow overlay. Its power relies on our unawareness and our unconscious participation. When we remember, when we align with organic time, when we reclaim our dreams and emotions, the system loses its grip. And perhaps most importantly, when individuals awaken their eternal flame body and activate their multidimensional DNA, they themselves become living keys in the planetary grid. This is not just personal liberation, it is planetary restoration. So breathe and stand in your coherence. Remember the spiral of time. the eternal flame at your core. The Saturn-Moon matrix may still broadcast, but you no longer need to receive.
Thanks for staying with us all the way through. Your presence matters. What part of this message landed most deeply with you? Drop a comment below. We would love to hear from you. And if you felt a shift, hit like, subscribe, and stay connected. More is coming.